Now that's what you call Big Willie style. Booyah!
Psychos and sickos unite for a Big Willie style edition of the PHNX Suns post-game show. Of course, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHNX365. Deposit 10. Place a bet for 5. Get $150 in bonus bets as your Phoenix Suns move to 3-0 in the NBA Cup. 12-7 on the season with a 112-100 victory over the Sacramento Kings. I'm Eric. That's Steven. We got Espo Gil on his first post-game show and the Freckled Mamba behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. But of course, none of the magic can happen without all of you filing in on chat here on a Wednesday night for another win. Let's not take that for granted. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become a member, become a diehard today. Gil, let me be the first one to congratulate you for picking the right game to do your first post-game show on.
It gave you something to be thankful for, 1-0, we got to win, and here we are right now talking about a good win too. Like, it basically is what we expect in this game, taking care of business and keeping them at arm's length, and we're all happy now.
I'm going to pull back the curtain. Gil has got hired a handful of weeks ago and literally looked at the schedule and went, yeah, Sacramento, that seems like a soft landing. That'll be perfect.
Right there. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Yeah.
That was a fun game. I'm gonna say that much for it. Really enjoyed it. But Ashley in the chat saying we need a Buscemi emoji. I agree we need the emoji, but I'm sorry, that was not a Buscemi. To let you know what a Buscemi is, it's when you do something and it's ugly, but it gets the job done. It's Steve Buscemi's looks, unfortunately. But yeah, so that does not qualify as a Buscemi. They took care of business tonight. That was not a Buscemi.
It looked good at times too.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first half, right? Yeah. That first half, that 40-point first quarter, yep. Steven, you get out there. Collin Gillespie in his first start with the Suns this season, obviously he started a couple games last year, comes out and has one hell of a first half, helping power the Suns to a dominant first quarter. Collin was moving different tonight.
I mean, he's just,
I guess, moving the same as he has been moving.
Just doing it more often.
Yeah.
That's it. Just doing it to start a game instead of setting the tone off the bench. Collin's really good at basketball for people that didn't know that. He wasn't my X factor for the Suns this season. That still remains Ryan Dunn for me. But he was my player to watch for the Suns because everything that was the build-up at the end of last season for him and kind of his claim to fame with the Suns and how he was ingratiated into everything and how he earned everything that he got after that immediately following it last season with the contract. He's done everything that you could ask for from him and then some. And I think that goes for both ends of the floor, but his playmaking continues to grow. It's not just him probing and finding driving lanes. He's using those driving lanes to attract attention and make the decision off of how the defense shifts from that after beating guys at the point of attack on offense. So Collin's in a very, very, very good space for a guard right now.
What's up, Russell? We see you in the chat. Thanks for saying hi. Nash, he said, if Williams is Big Willie style, do I have to call him Big Gilly style? And now we've officially stopped that nickname.
That's all it took? Thank you,
kills
Nasty.
It right there.
Thank you.
I didn't get a chance. I was going to use a Jay-Z line and say, no more Big Willie. My game is grown. Prefer you call me Williams. So, we could do that, too. But I guess.
That was where I was going.
Yeah,
next,
see, that was nice.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Look, I saw the vision, yeah.
With Collin, what I think is so impressive is that he kind of molds into whatever the team has needed him to be, obviously, starting tonight. He had 14 points in the first half, which was nice. I believe he was 1 point away from tying his career high, Gil. But I think what impressed me the most from him was his facilitating tonight. A couple of really nice dimes.
Yeah, Steven talked about it, the playmaking a little bit. And we saw it in the first 30 seconds of the game. The steal he had, just the activity that he had. Yeah. He finds Dylan Brooks for the three, and it's like, okay, he's here. Like, didn't take him long at all. Looked extremely comfortable. Obviously, he's been in that starting role before, but being in there, helping out Devin Booker as well in the first quarter. we talked about it before the game, what type of impact he was going to have as a starter. And again, it took him less than 60 seconds to show it. And that kind of set the tone for what he was going to do throughout the game, and he did that.
Yeah, I mean, and he just fills the stat sheet. You saw it in the G League with him, and you saw flashes of it. But, I mean, just that stat line's just impressive when you look at 21-9, 3 rebounds, 2 steals. Like, he just gets out there and is just involved on every level with the game. And that's the mindset that they've said that they want this team to have. And he goes out there night in, night out, and does it for them. And it doesn't matter if he's starting, coming off the bench, if he's the third guard or the second into that game. He's been doing it the whole time.
Well, and I think the most important thing to remember about it tonight is that the Suns won this game because of how they started it. Yeah. Once really that first quarter ended, it was more of an even bout against the Kings, and especially in that second half, the Kings made a pretty big run there, and Collin had some big moments in that second half, but if they didn't step on the gas so early following a loss to the Rockets on Monday, this game is completely different against a Sacramento team that had been playing pretty well the last 2 games, and Collin being a big part of that in every different aspect of the game is one of many reasons why we are going to name him our Dude of the Night, presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for full details. Like you mentioned, bonus 34 minutes tonight, 21 points, 8 of 15 from the field, 4-9 from deep, 9 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals for him. He also just passes the eye test, some really strong takes to the bucket against Russell Westbrook, which I was impressed by, some nice no-look dimes as well. Tone setter is really important, and I do wonder if this is something where he is going to continue to be in the starting lineup as they await the return of Grayson Allen, who Coach Ott said they're aiming for a weekend return for him. So I wonder what that plan is with Collin going forward. I want to know, Espo, what's been the most impressive thing or the thing that surprised you the most about Collin's game?
Just how quick he's been able to have that impact. We knew the different elements. We've seen it at different levels with him, but he's come in and just taken hold of that spot that he was given this year and had an immediate impact. I think that impresses me the most. And if I'm Coach Ott, I might consider, is he the option to go with even when Grayson comes back, and let Grayson take a little time to get back into the groove and let Collin play that table setter for everybody in that starting lineup. Obviously, when Jalen Green comes back, both are going to be on the bench, but maybe you give Grayson a little time. Don't force him back into that heavy amount of playing time that he's going to take if he goes back in the starting lineup, and give Collin that opportunity, because every time you give this kid a chance, he steps up.
Yes, well, I think that's interesting too, because it's easy to put somebody in a different role and they look a little unsure or uncomfortable. And the fact that he's proven the ability, plug and play, do whatever it is, starting, 6th man, heavy workload, light workload, whatever it is, that ability, I think, allows you to maybe tinker with that and see what it looks like, especially with more tough matchups coming up. We've talked about getting comfortable in these roles and making your impact felt against maybe a lesser team like Sacramento, but he made a bunch of big plays, and the game was the way it was because of what he was able to do. So I do like the idea of seeing what it looks like against different competition, and obviously, if you tinker with it again, he'll still be able to be impactful.
Yeah. Steven, they're going to have to roll out the money for him this offseason.
He's earning every bit of it, and I'm not mad at it at all. Collin has quickly just kind of shown that just because a team chose to go elsewhere doesn't mean that this player can't play. Yeah. And I think Denver, things happen, but he finds a new home with the Suns, gets an opportunity, and doesn't relinquish that field that got him that role. He just continues to stack. 21 points tonight, 9 assists, 23 assist points created. 5 threes from those assists that came from him. He's really good. He's really good. I want people to pay close attention to how he's operating on offense, because the layering of his game, last season it was the catch and shoot threes because he had a bunch of primary ball handlers. Had to do what he had to do to get minutes and then sustain it. He did that. Then he showed that, he can handle the ball too. He can run not just secondary pick and rolls, but primary pick and rolls. He can just go out and initiate your offense, to be honest. And now he's getting to the point where he's putting that and all of the creation in 2-point range for himself and for teammates, in tandem with the catch and shoot threes, in tandem with the pull-up three-pointer as well.
Yeah.
That's a complete guard. Some teams have complete guards off the bench. Those are typically the teams that do well when you get into crunch time or you get into injuries at the guard position. The Suns have one in Collin Gillespie.
The other great part, too, is it shuts up all the point book people if he starts as well, which I'm all right with the complaints about that not happening anymore. So,
and we'll definitely talk about Devin Booker here in a little bit. Lots of positives to mention in this one. I want to know from all three of you, would you consider Collin Gillespie a floor general in the modern NBA sense? I know maybe 10, 20 years ago you had to be like one of those true pass-first point guards to be considered a floor general, but with the way that he plays, is that a label that you're maybe even close to giving him or would already give him now?
More so than a lot of the guys you see in the league right now. I certainly think he's of that ilk.
Yeah, I was going to say like, somewhere along that line, right, of floor general to not floor general, thinking about the way he does things, the command that he has, the control and confidence that he's playing with, it is very much like a modern day version of that when I think about it. Like you talked about the shot diet a little bit, and that fits in with setting up his playmaking. Some of the heat checks, the confidence that he had, makes the defense continue to play him a certain way that gives him the ability to play make. Another thing that we talked about during the game is that you might not be able to tell on the broadcast but how strong he is. We talked about, with Russell Westbrook guarding and playing physically with him. It still allows him to make plays and get into the painted area and things like that. So I think that modern day version of a playmaker is a good label to put on it.
Yeah, he's definitely a modern point guard. I think maybe the most clear moment with it was Jordan not mentioning earlier in the season that he had to bring him in the film like, hey, you passed up a shot here and there. And there, we need you to take these shots for us to be the best version of ourselves. I've talked a lot about the torture twin lineups. Those lineups only work if Collin is looking at the basket and looking to score first, to then set the table to get guys those open catch and shoot threes that they enjoy so much.
I think the biggest plus for me in considering him a floor general beyond when you just watch him play is Jordan not making the decision in the second half. He subs him out in the third quarter at the 6-minute mark. Sacramento goes on a little bit of a run. They cut it close. 3 minutes in, he puts Collin Gillespie back in, which is not the normal rotation there, which, again, credit to Jordan Ott for reading the situation. We'll also talk about how he did that with Jamari Bouye later in the show, but the fact that Collin's the guy that, at least with this version of the Suns, with this amount of injuries and whatnot, that, okay, this game is getting out of hand, you go back in there. That's more than just a guy who's an energy guy. That's a steadying force, which is why that kind of plays more into the floor general aspect for me.
Well, it's certainly a calming force, and it seems that he's somewhat unflappable. There's not a lot that gets him in some kind of panic mode where you see some guards that, they can come in off the bench and kind of be a calming force, but when they get major minutes, they might not be able to handle. He goes in and he handles it and approaches it the same way every night. And I think that's an impressive thing for a guy to be able to do as well. By the way, Shane in the chat, yes, I remember you, and great to have seen you at that concert years and years and years ago. He's mentioned it a couple times. I want to get that in there. But yeah,
shout out
Collin
Shane.
Unflappable for sure.
The other part for me with Collin is the defense, man. The defense. Last time I checked it, the Suns have they're giving up less than a point per possession when he's picking up guys on the other side of half court. That's not by happenstance, and it's not by him gambling and getting a bunch of steals. He just steers the wheel for them defensively, no different than he sets the tone for them offensively. And because they can be organized from the onset of defensive possessions, everybody's in position to be successful. Mark Williams can stay around the basket if he's in drop, or he can just go and stay and protect against any other drives that happen because it's not happening with 20 seconds on the clock. Everybody else can just be successful. And again, from a point guard perspective on offense, you get them into the offense efficiently, you get yourself into your defensive process efficiently as well.
And we talk about being a steadying force on a game-to-game basis, but thinking big picture too, right? While this team is working to get back healthy, he's allowing to bridge the gap and give them some more time, buy some more time to get Grayson and Jalen Green back in the lineup. And I think the hope would be once this team is at full strength, this guy can be the steadying force for the second unit. And when you start talking about the high leverage games down the season stretch run, if you're hoping to be playing for a playing spot or a playoff spot, that's a great luxury to have. A guy like that to terrorize second units with his full court defense, with his playmaking, with his scoring, and doing it in these spots will prepare him for that down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, he's been put in an awesome position. It's the reason why he's back here, because he knew that he was going to be entrusted by this team. But I don't think anybody imagined that he would be this important this early on. And again, that's great for him and his future contract rise. It's great for the Suns this season. And again, whatever injuries are happening right now, who knows what happens if you get into a playoff series, if somebody's missing, if somebody rolls an ankle and you got to look at Collin Gillespie. Guess what? He's got months now at this point with how long Jalen's going to be out of being higher up in that pecking order. Any final thoughts on Collin before we take a break and then talk about somebody else who also is our dude of the night?
His ability to get in the lane and kind of do that and find a guy on the perimeter is really great to watch and really a great addition to what this Suns team is doing, because it sets those three-point shooters up with such great looks like that. I love that he's been able to do that.
Other thing for me with Collin that really tells me that he's like a true point guard, especially in this kind of modern sense. You can throw a true point guard on the court with anybody, and they're going to figure it out.
Yep.
So the role that Collin plays when he's on the court with the Torture Twin lineups that need his offensive prowess is different than how he plays when Devin's on the court. It's different than how he's played when Jalen was on the court. That kind of shape-shifting ability to play different roles, to wear different hats, is the mark of a great point guard, but it's also the mark of a leader. And all of that together makes for a winner.
And the mark of a guy with high basketball IQ. Yeah, exactly. For sure.
He embodies all of it, and it's why we love him. It's why he is one of our dudes of the night. Somebody in the chat says, I vehemently disagree with this dude of the night, even though I love Collin Gillespie. Well, that's because you thought we were only giving out one. We'll talk about the other one on the other side of this break. Look, like you thinking there's only one dude of the night, sometimes life throws you curveballs, and sometimes they're not great ones. Unfortunately, if you've been in an accident or suffered a serious injury, you might want to be prepared. And that's why you got to write down this number right now. 602-783-8841. That's 602-783-8841. Of course, it's the number of the husband and wife law team. And we told you so many times now why you should choose Mark and Alexis Breyer and their team. Not only do they bring hundreds of years of combined trial experience, they also have multiple certified specialists in personal injury and wrongful death. They actually go to trial. You can access your attorney at all times, and they're 100% dedicated to injury and wrongful death, experienced, specialized, and equipped with expertise to handle every aspect of your case. And while nobody can guarantee the outcome of a legal case, they guarantee that they will tell you upfront the strengths and weaknesses of your specific claim. If you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at the link in our show notes and tell them PHNX sent you.
I feel like we hit the jackpot with the smooth voice of Gil over here, joining the team. But if you want to hit the jackpot this Christmas, why not take a chance and get some scratchers from the Arizona Lottery? You can stock your stuffings stuff your stockings whatever, with cash this holiday season, however you want to see it. There are 6 festive scratchers coming, including Cash Countdown, which has prizes up to $250,000, and Candy Cane Cash, which smells just like peppermint. So if you're planning on going on a night on the town, you forget your cologne, you get one of those. You smell like peppermint. Look at that.
A scratcher right all over you.
Pro tips right here.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, you can dash to instant prizes with holiday fast play tickets as well. The holiday scratchers make a great last-second gift. You forgot to buy something on Christmas Eve, you hit up our friends at Circle K, you get a scratcher, boom, you got a gift. So make sure to make sure to play and gift today with our friends at the Arizona Lottery.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you all for hanging out with us on a Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. We are thankful for all of you in chat coming out and supporting the whole crew on a 112-100 victory for the Phoenix Suns. 12-7 on the season, 3-0 in the NBA Cup, which we'll touch on why that is important later in the show. But before we get to the rest of the show, I want to remind everybody this Friday is the Territorial Cup, and of course our PHNX Sun Devils crew, me, Totri, and the Deli Man, Shane Diefenbach, will be out at Loco Patron for a live post-game show this Friday, of course courtesy of the Captain Morgan. About 30 minutes following the final whistle, join us for the special opportunity to witness the PHNX Sun Devils show in person and, of course, celebrate a Sun Devil victory, yet another home victory on the season for ASU. So come hang out with us.
Eric, I think we need to introduce Gil to one of the characters on the program.
Oh, God.
We should?
Oh, man.
Me want to introduce myself, Gil. Me Nookie Monster, and I got to tell you about the great deals we have for Black Friday here with PHNX. We have our Black Friday sale up to 90% off on Whole Locker. If you're a diehard member, you already get early access to it. So save this Black Friday up to 90% on all your needs at the Go PHNX Locker.
See, my question is, why would you be envious of my voice if you can do that?
Because your voice is so much better than
I don't know. I don't know if I have that in my range. I'm just saying.
I have a lot of things in my range, but I don't have what you have, and that is disappointing. So
that man is in his bag right now. Y'all just don't know.
He hasn't seen me talk to myself and that character. That's next level.
Animated Hoop says, I haven't been here for 2 days. We got a new guy? That's what's up. Welcome to the family. If you did miss it, yesterday we introduced Gil McGregor, our newest member of PHNX Suns. Go back there, get a little background on him. I hate to break it to you, Gil. We don't have time to talk about you right now because it's time to get to our other dude of the night, presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Again, you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. No more details needed. It's Mark Williams in just 29 minutes tonight, which is the Mark Williams special. He put up 21 points on 9 of 12 shooting from the field, 16 rebounds. By the way, 10 of those offensive rebounds. Actually, they took away an offensive rebound and overall rebound from him. So it says 17 on there. It's 16 overall, 9 offensive rebounds, 7 of those on the defensive end, 4 assists, 3 steals, and a block. That is as dominant of a performance as we've seen from Mark Williams all year.
Ferk the official scorer. That's
I hate when they do that.
Rebounds,
when the game is over, no more adjustments. That is the stat line.
That's it. Sacramento official scorer is just trying to screw with Mark Williams after a great game. But it was unbelievable. He's active. Getting those boards on the offensive end was a huge reason why they were able to keep the Sacramento Kings at bay. Some great dunks tonight as well, and kept it within his minute range. 29 and 21 points is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he had a double-double in the third quarter. And he was also, we talked about, he said the 4 assists. That was the most impressive thing. They trusted him with the ball in the middle of the lane. He found the right guys, made the right reads, and we were saying this during the game. I think that's something they're going to continue to trust him with more and more, and that can unlock an offense, right? Having a big man who you trust to make the right read and the correct read. And he's still a young player. I think that's the thing that we have to remind ourselves, that he's still learning. It's a new situation for him, and for him to thrive like that in that limited number of minutes, and also take advantage of the fact that this team is missing their all-star big man. That's exactly what you want to see from him.
Yeah, he's just very, very good at basketball at the most basic level of analysis. Yeah. Just a very good basketball player, a very steady hand. With the Suns, his lows have not hit nearly in the ways that it seemed like they did when he was in Charlotte. And his highs have hit more often than even the kind of middling point with them too. So he just understands his role. He doesn't really step out of that and do too much that's going to hurt the team. But he does a ton that really helps them, especially in meaningful moments. And it's not like he's going, throw me the ball in the post and let me get 7 or 8 post touches a game. He might not get 1 a game, even if he does have a mismatch. But what he's doing is the extra efforts on the offensive rebounds, just bigger than everybody. And he acknowledged it and played that way tonight. On the defensive end, the versatility continued to stand out. The ability to switch in different iterations of that, get up solid contests, still get back to the boards and help his teammates out. The rim running continues to hit as well. And then the other thing for me is in the first quarter, we saw them putting him in playmaking positions. The short roll reads, it wasn't always a read to make a skip pass, though he did make a few skip passes to that corner for opportunities at catch and shoot threes. Hitting in the short roll to go and score. He can score below the free throw line. He has a soft touch floater. He's good at taking one dribble, initiating contact and getting into hook shots and things like that. Very, very composed and mature game from Mark Williams tonight.
To be fair, everybody's lows are lower in Charlotte. So.
Even mine.
Well, look,
we raised your game by just bringing it out here.
Hey, yeah, so the Suns going to get Nick Richards. They bring in Cody Martin. They also bring in Mark Williams.
Don't forget Vasamicic.
We going to get Vasamicic, and we going to get Gil.
Yeah,
we won. Man,
the Charlotte to Phoenix pipeline is crazy.
Somebody tell Matt and Brian we are all aligned around here. Man.
I mean, hell, we got Chris Paul to the Valley too. TJ Warren.
Big facts. Big facts.
There's a big pipeline
going on and on. We're coming this way.
Look, I think the thing with Mark, and we've said it so many times, I think it was probably most notable tonight, was that offensive rebounding and his hands. The way that he went and tracked down some of the most impressive rebounds we've seen him control this season. There was also that final big dunk that he had in the fourth quarter that helped kind of seal things away for the Suns off of the broken play where the ball was saved. And he just ripped it away and then went up with force. He is a constant. And I think a lot of people, of course, are going to draw the comparison like DeAndre Ayton and Mark Williams. And I think the thing that you look at with Mark is there is never a moment that I have watched him play basketball where I've questioned his motor.
Yeah.
Right? And the motor doesn't come with stupid and dumb decisions. He is sound, he is aggressive, he is athletic, and he knows when to pick his moments. He did get a couple post-ups tonight, and he attacked them. I thought they were good shots. He didn't hit all of them. Guess what? Next couple of shots, he goes to the paint, he bullies it in, and he goes in for a dunk. That's the type of intelligence that out of, like you mentioned, a young big man, as he continues to grow and get chemistry with some of these guys like a Collin, like a Book, that are throwing him passes. I mean, the sky is the limit for him. The Suns took a risk on him, and obviously we can't say that risk paid off. But from what we've seen so far, just about 20 games into the season, I don't know if any of us expected him to be this good and this consistent this fast for them.
Yeah, Eric, you pointed out like his motor. You haven't questioned his motor since he's been here. I think we talked about some of the lows that he had in earlier parts of his career was because people were concerned about his effort. But we talked about this, the rim runs, the energy, the ball finds energy. I saw that from him, and I continue to see that from him. And you talk about what he can do and how he can be dominant. A player as tall and athletic as him can get 8 to 10 points a night on putbacks and rim running. And everything else is just extra. That's extra credit basically for him. So I think that being the building block and the starting point for him is very exciting because the sky is the limit if you're doing that at the bare minimum.
I thought one thing that Book said real quick was that Mark Williams in the huddle would go to him and be like, hey, you missed me on that. And then they would go and watch film together. And to be this energy guy, but to be vocal about your touches and to be like, hey, like we need to work on this. Like, again, for a young guy, Espo, that's just impressive on an off-court situation too.
Well, it is, and that's the hallmark of a guy that believes in himself and also knows that Book can take that and will react well to that because they all just want to get better. And I think you could give the entire organization some credit as well because they have built a place where he can come in and succeed. They bring in Steve Clifford as a coaching advisor, a guy that's familiar with him. Coach Ott understands what they need to get out of him, but they also set up the plan, which we joke about. But the reality is they've looked at it and they want to ensure that his health is the primary thing because they know how talented he is. And I think he feels that care and attention to putting him in the best situation, which probably also helps when you go out there on the court to know that an entire organization has your back along the way.
Yeah, team context matters about all of those things in terms of the things like the plan, taking what they've known to be a trend and finding ways to break that trend and get the most out of a piece that's in-house with them, especially in the contract season more than anything as well. Being able to take what he's shown to be successful with and pour into those things while also challenging him on the margins to be better in areas that he's shown to have potential but just either wasn't able to execute to the level that he should have because of the situation he was in or just because he wasn't being challenged to do it. Jordan Ott talked about it earlier in the season with me about him playing closer to the level of the screen. You can play a deep drop, that's cool. Against 80% of the starting guards in the league now, if you're a starting five, deep drop is not going to work. You have to be able to get closer to the level and sometimes switch. And I think him being able to, again, just Jordan not being able to get more out of so many players this early in the season, even if it is just marginally, incrementally, we're already seeing so many players reap the benefits of that. That's the mark of a great system in terms of the day-to-day approach and how they're looking at the things that guys do well, allowing them to do those things while challenging them in other areas, and also the players buying into what it is that they're preaching them via film and via conversations and being poured into in terms of confidence.
Hey, we'll get to Jamari Bouye in a second, okay? Gil, when you play with a 7-footer like that all the positive things that we just described about him, how much easier does that make life on everybody else?
Absolutely makes life so much easier. Think about just how much space somebody that big takes up, right? Like offensively and defensively, but especially defensively, like being there, being active, having active hands, that just makes everybody think twice, right? So you talk about the impact that he had defensively, and it all really does go hand in hand. And that's why it's really hard to find a starting caliber center around the NBA. And that's why you see teams invest in those guys and maybe sometimes overpay for those guys on the trade market because it's very hard. And I think that's the difference between a team who could maybe do something and a team who actually can win at a high level. And what we've seen so far from Mark Williams, he can be that guy as long as they follow the plan.
You bring up team defense, though. How much does a guy like Mark Williams, knowing that he's behind you, make it easier for guys on the perimeter to take a little bit more of a chance, to be a little bit more aggressive, because it's not just an open lane behind you, right?
Absolutely. It's that. Like, that's something you could play a little more aggressively. And we talked about the level of aggression that's playing that point of attack defense, playing passing lanes, and also things that don't show up in the stat sheet, right? There's blocks, of course, but so many times throughout the course of a game, a guy might change their shot around or might even decide not to. And we see it with other shot blockers as well around the league, but it's something that's subconscious about players, especially if somebody blocks your shot once or twice. Third time, you might decide to make a different read and it ends up being a turnover elsewhere. So yeah, when a guy is big and active, it makes so many different impacts on different levels.
The Suns had 14 steals tonight to Sacramento's 9. They also forced 17 total turnovers, in which they scored 34 points off of those 17 turnovers. So they created that chaos, of course, part of that being Mark, who had 3 steals himself tonight, and being the backline of that defense. Even Devin Booker talked about it in his post-game interview about how Mark Williams is the heart of his defense. I think we put a bow on Mark for now. It's any final thoughts before we got to give some love to our blue-collar boy of the night, and got to talk about maybe some of the negatives from this game, like a 16-point third quarter. So any final remarks on Mark?
Yeah, last thing for me, it's one thing to be tall. It's another thing to be coordinated. It's also another thing to know what it is that you're doing with those qualities. So we see a lot of times some big men are good and quick with their feet, but they don't have the discernment part in terms of understanding, okay, I did get switched here. Let me not go for the steal and just be solid, because either he has to shoot over me or I help defenders around me. On the offensive side, I got the ball in the post against this mismatch. Am I going to force it? Or is there something better that we can get from the offense from another mismatch? Because if I have a guard on me, that means that someone else has a big on them. That's going to get an overreaction from somewhere that's going to lead to another shot. Mark has the intangibles in between the ears in particular, which allow for his athleticism and the vertical spacing and the size to just hit a little differently.
I want to bring up, I'm just going to do this. I want to name that dunk that he had with the steal.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
The play, the love the play.
Presented by Arizona Lottery, play and gift today if you're over the age of 21.
That was probably the final momentum swing in that game. And it was fun to watch him essentially try to rip down that hoop, because that was an aggressive dunk. It was, I'm making this very clear. I just stole this ball and I just ripped your heart out all at the same time. That was my favorite play, and probably my favorite play from the last few games that I've seen.
I guess it won't be all positive. I was nitpicking a little bit, but one thing I would like to see is clean up some of those screens. I think he had 2 illegal screens late in the game, and it was inconsequential because the game was pretty much out of hand. But that happens early first quarter. You're in foul trouble. You're already on limited time, and you're out sitting on the rest of the bench. We talked about how impactful he is. He's only impactful when he's on the floor. So a lot of times it depends on the officiating crew, how they call it, but seeing those back-to-back, basically illegal screens late down the stretch, something to clean up. So
it's called spending too much time with Nick Richards.
I was going to say quickly, I have a rebuttal for you.
Okay.
For play of the game.
Okay.
So you named that one, and I think that's probably 1B to my 1A, or you might look at it as 1A to my 1B, either way. The second quarter, when they went to the flare screen for Devin, and he got 2 to the ball, and it just did not hit the ground for 3 or 4 passes from there, resulted in a dunk. It might have been from Mark Williams himself. That was it for me, just because how often do we see in 2025, almost 2026, plays where guys aren't dribbling the ball, but still manipulating the defense, not just creating an advantage, but literally tilting the defense, making them rotate to the point where they can't keep up with the passes, and it results in a wide open look at the basket. Some of it is the Sacramento Kings defense stinks. We'll acknowledge that part stinks.
Yeah.
Like PU. We will acknowledge that part of it. But the other part of it, too, is the Suns trusting the pass. That's something we've talked about. That's a barometer for when they're at their best. The ball is ping, ping, ping. It's moving all over the place, and defenses can just never keep up with a ball that's moving that much.
I love my flares, but if it was horns, it'd be my 1A, but it wasn't. So it's my 1B.
Well, take that back, because it started out of horns.
Okay.
It started out of horns.
Fine, we can have them tie tonight for the love the play of the game.
I would like to throw one in the ring. Is that one board that Mark found where he went all the way back here and grabbed it? Also, Collin's first 10 minutes of play.
Can I make a submission too?
Sure.
Oh, dang. No,
you got to have a little tenure around here.
My submission, it was a 2-on-1. it was DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Jordan Goodwin was back. He had a block on that 2-on-1. And I think that just sums up what this team is, the identity of this team. Look, I got two guys. One they call Debo because he bullies you. Another one is he's a little bit older, but he's still one of the most athletic guys this league has ever seen. Jordan Goodwin said, doesn't matter. I'm going to get a play. He made a block. And the Kings ended up scoring the next possession, but he didn't give up. And I think that is a play that you box up and say, this is who we are as a team.
Bees, we'll get to Super Chats here in a second. Another player that sums up who the Suns are as a team is our blue-collar boy of the night, and we're going to name him after our second break. Everybody's got dreams. Everybody's got goals. And it feels like everybody wants to start a business nowadays. And if you are looking about starting your own business, you have to check out Shopify, simply because about every single business has it, including ours. We use Shopify for the PHNX merch store, which, by the way, Black Friday deals if you're a diehard right now, and for the public starting tomorrow. But Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, and literally 10% of all e-commerce in the entire United States. Shopify has you covered with website creation, product descriptions, email and social media marketing, and more. They also have AI tools designed to help you maximize sales. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into money with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity.
Ayrton, can I get the 2-shot when you get a chance?
Oh, man.
Let's go.
You'll be fine, Steven, I promise. Look, I know Thanksgiving's tomorrow, and that a lot of you are going to be places where maybe you don't want to be. But there's football on, and the Bet365 app works even when you're at somebody else's house. And I highly recommend you get in on some of those live game betting and same game parlays when it comes to the Thanksgiving Day slate, because you're going to want that. Because you're going to need something to do while you're over there. And with Bet365, they got you covered. You can place your bets, and you're going to wind up getting a chance to win, because breaking news, new customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up using the promo code PHNX365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if you win or lose. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and needs help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov.
We are less than an hour away from Thanksgiving, and we're all thankful for another Suns victory, their 12th in 19 games. By the way, moving them up to 500 on the road this season, which was certainly a problem early on.
Boy, that's a climb.
There we go.
That's almost Mount Everest.
Well, they got Mount Everest to face on Friday, but we can get there in a little bit.
And Saturday.
If I told you a couple months ago that the Suns would be 12-7, everybody would be shocked. If I told you they'd be 3-0 in the NBA Cup, you'd be shocked. If I told you that our blue-collar boy of the night is Jamari Bouye, people would laugh at me and say, who?
Oh, yeah, I would have just been like, that's what I would have said is who?
The legend from the San Francisco Dons.
Where do we find this photo,
That's his Milwaukee Bucks headshot.
He's got the shaved head in that photo.
Well, he might need to go back to it, but he was hooping tonight. 19 minutes for Jamari Bouye, 11 points, 4-6 from the field. Add in a rebound. He has no credited blocks on the night. I would like to fix that. I believe he has at least 2 or 3.
One three-pointer,
yeah,
right?
he had a three-pointer, and he had one in the lane, and I think he had another one that it was him and Mark going at it at the same time. And I cannot believe how awesome this guy was. Steven, you got to see him out in the G League as the Valley Suns played the other night, and now he's up in NBA action yet again. I mean, he's been so impressive.
He's a bucket, but he also, past just being a bucket, understands how to find impact on the game. So box score watchers, outside of the points, you're not going to find much, but if you actually watch him during the game, he's doing things that are going to keep him out of trouble in terms of making the defense around him have to react to what he's doing if he's not where he's supposed to be. He's on time and on schedule there. Offensively, he's scoring, making his open shots, but he's also moving the ball, or he's making timely drives to keep an advantage. He's just a good basketball player, and it's another hat tip to Brian Gregory and company. They continue to find guys that fit the role of what they need from them on the team but also find guys that have a certain way that they process the game that allows for them to be impactful in a system that's very much read and react. And if one guy is off script, it throws everything off.
I just love the fact that they're not afraid to use their G League in a smart way, too, in those two-way contracts. They looked at C.J. Huntley. They said, we don't think he's going to have an impact on the big club, so we're going to take him off that two-way. We're going to get Abuye, who's playing well in the G League, and we think could have an impact on what we've got going on right now with the big club. And they did that, and it's paying dividends right away. And Isaiah Livers is another guy that people are like, well, who's this guy? And they brought him in on that two-way deal, and he's had an impact with the Suns this year too.
Yeah, ever since the two-way contracts became a thing, however many years ago it's been now, like I've always enjoyed when those guys actually get to come up and play meaningful minutes and meaningful roles with the big team. 19 minutes for him tonight, and to your point, Stephen, like it feels like he's just in the right place. You know, like where there's a catch-and-shoot three he had at one point in a crucial juncture during the game, and the right rotation defensively, or just being around and being active. That's a guy who you can trust, especially considering he hasn't even been with the franchise for that long. The fact that they can trust him to play 19 minutes, obviously injury has a role in it, but in a cup game, which is important regardless of what you want to say it or not, especially when you're 3-0 in it, it's important. So for him to do that, I think that instills confidence. And also, the best part is it's a tough decision now. Like, what are you going to do when his games available start to wind down? And that's a good problem to have.
Well, that's the problem you're going to have with Isaiah Livers first, who also played again, and I brought some good energy, but didn't have obviously as good of a game as Bouye. 3 of 5 from deep. I think it's a very interesting jump shot, especially for a small guy. He does not get a lot of air on it at all, but it goes in, and that's all that matters. I mean, look, I'm not comparing this team to the New England Patriots, but one of the things that was always so impressive about them was that they would just find guys out of nowhere, and it'd be like, how the hell is this guy going and catching like 100 yards from Tom Brady this weekend, right? And obviously that's a way different situation, but I think a testament to a good organization is finding these guys before everybody else does. Jamari Bouye was in another team's system. He played minutes for the Bucks last year in the NBA, and he looked pretty decent. Right? And this is a Bucks team that found Ryan Rollins, that has had some good developmental stories. He's gone, right? This guy was hooping in the G League, averaging over 20 points. Collin Gillespie last year was a two-way player. Isaiah Livers was out of the league. Those are 3 guys tonight that you don't win this game if they did not play basketball tonight. And Bouye being a big part of that. Dude, he almost played 20 minutes tonight, right? That is a testament to him individually, from Jordan Ott, like we've mentioned, getting the most out of guys. And honestly, the players, because you have seen so much turnover with this roster through injuries and different starting lineups and role changes, that it takes a special type of group to just be able to automatically gel with a Jordan Goodwin, automatically gel with a Jamari Bouye, with an Isaiah Livers, right? This is a team that did all of training camp with Jalen Green and Grayson Allen and Ryan Dunn fully healthy. Bouye's been with the team for a week, right? And he played 20 minutes tonight against, as Steven says, the Stinky Kings. But they were important minutes, and they were minutes that you don't win the game without them.
But that's the new NBA. With these aprons and everything, you're going to have to find guys at quality contracts and get creative in the way that you can bring additional talent into your building. And it's going to win on the margins by finding guys like this that can have an impact on the NBA side. So I'm glad that they've changed their mindset in looking at it and approaching it this way, and that they have a coach that's finding a way to get the most out of guys that others may look at and go, well, they're a 15th guy or wouldn't play for us.
And that's a characteristic of a successful team, especially in the modern day NBA, with all the different types of things that prevent you from having the flexibility. You have to have that eye. You have to have the ability to see, okay, this person can plug and play, this person can fit in our system and can grow within our system as well. And if that's the case, then you should be able to trust them right away. And it's obviously easier said than done, but the fact that we're starting to see a recurring theme with that happen should instill confidence in the directional or the future of this organization and where they're going moving forward as this refresh, reset goes into a new era as it is right now.
I mean, like you said, that's the mark of successful franchises, especially in this era of basketball.
Yep.
It's not just about finding top end talents. If I'm being honest, most teams aren't looking to add more top end talent. They're looking for one piece and high level role players that can punch up within their roles on that team to get the team where they need to be. Oklahoma City is the standard.
Yep.
Everybody's playing catch up, and they don't slack about second round picks. They don't slack about undrafted guys. They don't slack about the two-way contract guys, the G League system, the team, the way that team operates. They're the standard right now, and it's not just about them having the MVP and the finals MVP and being champs. It's about all of those other steps that got them there. How many second-round picks did they have that were in the main rotation for them last season that ultimately helped them get to that championship? That's not by happenstance. That's intentional finding of pieces. And, again, the Suns are on the right track. They're setting a good foundation under Ott, as well as Brian Gregory. Want to continue to mention Brian because he's the talent recognition guy. He's the guy that's pressing the button on all these things. Rasheer Fleming feels like a guy that's going to be one of those guys. Malawacha has work to do, but if you're looking at it the right way long term, it's hard to ignore his potential. Kobe Brea, no different, the same way. These are multiple guys that are kind of striking that type of balance. Within his first opportunity, Brian Gregory has only been around for how many months now?
As a general manager.
6, yeah. As the guy pressing the buttons, yeah. He's done a lot. He's done a lot, and he set them up for some sustained success.
Yeah, he deserves his flowers. And I think your point with Kamana, I wanted to say real quick, I know it's a little bit out of left field, but for those who are like freaking out because we are seeing it, the people being like Derek Queen's hooping and look at these guys taking after Kaman and all that are contributing. Stuff like this should make you feel so much better about where those guys are and the long-term prospects. The fact that they recognized that they needed Collin and then they kept Collin. And I know that was not under Gregory, but he could have gone elsewhere, right? The fact that you get Jamari and Isaiah on margin moves, right? That makes me feel so much more comfortable, Gil, about these young guys that we're looking towards the future with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned OKC, and I was like, I'm old enough to remember when Lou Dort was on a two-way contract, and now he's a premier defender.
I'm old enough to remember when he was at ASU, man.
I'm old enough to remember when OKC was in Seattle.
No,
never mind. Anyways.
And not to say that Jamari Bouye is going to become him, but to think about that and to think that this is what's going on. And to your point, like, it's important to keep the big picture in mind as well. And it's a part of the process and remembering that these guys are young. In the case of Kamau Malawach, he hasn't been playing basketball that long. And obviously now he's at the greatest level, the greatest league in the world. It's going to take some time. Like, you know, the fact that he's here basically at this point in his journey is crazy in itself. And I think that instills confidence, or should instill confidence, that he's going to figure it out. And everything else is going on around him should give you the confidence as fans that he's in the right situation to figure it out. And they're not putting him in positions that he's not ready to be in yet. So I think it's important to understand, you know, an instant gratification when you see rookies play well. It kind of skews your expectations, but it is important to remember these guys are 19, 20 years old. In the case of Kaman, just turned 19 years old, and it's a long runway for him to figure it all out. So I'm still confident about that, and especially given what we've seen around him.
We got a lot to get into on the show, so we'll still look at the numbers. We'll get to some super chats. We've got some emotional ones, and we've got some classic ones as well. We'll continue to break down the Suns' 112-100 victory over the Sacramento Kings as we inch towards Thanksgiving, all here on PHNX Suns. Are y'all familiar with what the cousin walk is? Yeah, you know. Yeah, you know. You don't know.
I don't think I want to know.
No, look.
Is that something that happens in the South after a really weird night?
No, I would actually say it happens not in the South. For those who know, you might want to indulge in some pure edibles, because pure edibles are there you go. Now you know. Pure edibles found in Arizona, available at 130 dispensaries statewide. Pure gummies not covered in sugar. Like all their other competitors, a full-fledged candy company offering gummies, kicks, which is their version of Starburst, chews, and hard candies as well. The best part about Pure is that they label exactly how you're going to feel. It's not indica sativa hybrid. It's sleepy. It's uplifted. It's everything in between with Pure edibles. Plus, they've collabed with my favorite IPA in Arizona, the Tower Station IPA. So go find yourself some Pure edibles products before tomorrow at one of their over 130 dispensaries across Arizona. Arizona, Espo. Arizona.
If you've had a cousin's weekend and you need to bail yourself out of jail, you're going to need a checking account to probably do that. And our friends over at Mountain America Credit Union can help you.
Hell of a weekend if you're in jail.
Home of the Suds card. And it's unbelievable. You can get it as a checking card, a debit card, or as a credit card, and it's elite. I'm going to tell you that much. And right now you can pair it with the My Style checking account, and you can make My Style your lifestyle. No, not the way I look. You can make the My Style checking account your lifestyle, because these great deals. You're going to be able to get mobile phone protection, telehealth access, loan rate discounts, and who does not want a loan rate discount right now in today's world? So make sure to get that today, because Mountain America is here to guide you forward on your financial journey. Get your Suns card today. Apply at any Arizona branch. Visit macu.com/Suns to learn more. Insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply. Loans approved on credit.
I'll continue to say, too, I love Mountain America Credit Union's investment in both women's basketball and youth basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Two kind of factions of basketball that don't get the attention they should, but help add to making the sport be the greatest in the world, in my opinion.
Get your Mercury card.
Get your Mercury card. Get your kids into the little kids leagues that they have, and they're establishing all over Arizona, especially on the girls' side, so they don't have to play intramurals and don't have to play co-ed. They can just go play in an all-girls league. That stuff matters.
Look, it matters. You know what else mattered to me? The fact that Bouye might have been the fastest to the boom room. Honestly, it might be a record. It might be a record. We might see the fastest minutes to boom room ratio that has ever existed since the introduction of it.
I have so many questions about how you get in the boom room and why. And
Nick, who was given a key card today? Was it Nick Richards was given a key card to the boom room?
A key card, and Book can't even get an invite when he gets
the thing is, Nick Richards got the key card to the boom room, but then he threw it to the other team. I'm sorry,
what
Nick.
are the perks at the boom room? Like, I have so many questions for K-Ray that I can't get answers to.
Look, we do have some answers as far as the numbers. Let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union. Named by Forbes. Of course, the only number that matters is that 112 to 100 victory. Before we get to what's on the graphic, I want to throw in 41-16. That was the first quarter scoring of this game. So that pretty much decided it. That's a pretty important number. Other than that, Steven, pretty favorable numbers for the Suns tonight.
Yeah, some fun numbers tonight. Start with their field goal percentage, 46.2%, not bad. You want to be better with how you defended Sacramento in that second half, because the way that they defended in the first half was everything that you want, from their defensive field goal percentage to the numbers that they were shooting from deep. I think they only had like maybe 4 or 5 threes made at halftime on an awful percentage. You want it to look a lot more like it did in the first half, in the second half, to make it a complete game. Nonetheless, you still won the margins. You still did the things that you do that are akin to when you're at your best within your identity. You stayed #aligned for a majority of the game as well.
Hey.
And I think everybody will be satisfied with this win, while also acknowledging that there is room for improvement in specific areas.
I like the rebounding margin there, 47-41. I also like the assists, especially that first quarter, Gil, 10 assists
14,
and 1 turnover in that first quarter. It was basically, okay, the first quarter was awesome, and then the rest of the game, they made it through.
Yeah, and I called the turnovers before the game, 21 on Monday. Had 17 total turnovers, but a couple were like dead ball turnovers and things of that nature. But I only had 14 actual turnovers, and a couple of those were those illegal screens. So taking care of the ball was something you pointed out before the game as a big key, and we saw that it wasn't really that noticeable. Like, a couple of turnovers did stand out, like, what are you doing there? But there wasn't a lot of egregious turnovers. A lot of them were effort turnovers. Guys just were doing a little too much, but it wasn't a lack of attention to detail or anything like that. And I think that was a big thing when you're playing against a lesser team. When you need to take care of business, they did that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing with those turnovers, to your point, they didn't let one linger into another, and they didn't stack them. It was one and done for the most part.
Yep.
That's what you want to see.
That's kind of been the mentality of this team, just on a macro scale, right? You lose on Monday, you come out on Wednesday, you kick ass in the first quarter, right?
Yeah.
You have a ton of turnovers against the Spurs. You turn around. Oh, no, it was before the Timberwolves. Or they played before the Timberwolves. I don't know. They had a ton of turnovers. They had turnovers against the Timberwolves come out against the Spurs and have a very low amount. It's like this react and response. And Espo, you mentioned it when we were watching the game. Like, this team's identity is kind of identifying these problems and then quickly getting a fix for them. Some might linger, some might come back, but now I'm starting to have faith that if it happens during one game, the next one there's going to be a pretty big emphasis on it.
Yeah, they cut down the turnovers tonight, and the assists went up. They went from 11 the other night to 25 tonight, and we know when this team is moving the ball is when they're at their best. You brought that point up earlier, and it doesn't matter if it's against the Stinky Kings or a team like on Friday against OKC. When this team's moving the ball, they'll find success because they will find the open look. Now, obviously, they have to hit them, but they will find the open look. And tonight was another night where they got back to that and did it well, and they hit their shots.
And that's the thing. That's why I don't like for people to overlook a team like the Kings because talent for talent, the level of play versus the level of play, it is what it is. That's unignorable, especially going into it. But what you have to pay attention to, which makes these games interesting, they defend differently. They might not have the personnel to be the team that Oklahoma City is, obviously, in scheme or personnel, but they defend in certain ways that test you. If you're a team like the Suns and you said we're going to trust the pass, are you going to trust it if we're switching and we're throwing double teams at Devin Booker and doing all of this other activity-based things? Are you going to trust it? The answer tonight was a resounding yes. It's the habits that you do against teams like Sacramento that are the ones that are going to get you a chance at against a team like Denver or a team like Oklahoma City or any of these other juggernauts that are in the schedule the rest of the way. So it's all about the habits. They stayed aligned with their habits while also taking care of the basketball significantly better today. And I think those are the marks that give me confidence that they can compete with some of these teams that people say are out of their proverbial weight class right now.
Yeah, you mentioned habits too, and this stands out. Only 10 free throw attempts for Sacramento. And I know it's stylistic sometimes, but I think it was a play. I think it was also didn't bite on DeMar DeRozan's pump fake. And he's a guy who we've seen since he came into the league, always gets people to bite on that and gets to the line and lives at the line. He only took 2 free throws. So I think that is a habit that builds, especially when you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looming on Friday. You need to be disciplined defensively, seeing that only allowing them to shoot or only sending to the line 10 times is another stat that stands out to me when you look at the box score.
Yeah, and again, this is a Kings team that, again, they're the stinky Kings, but they're the stinky Kings that have won 2 straight coming into tonight. And they're a team that beat 2 good teams, a Minnesota team who I think we might have broken, to be completely honest with you, but then also the Denver Nuggets as well. And even if those teams are shorthanded or if they're broken, those are not teams you expect this version of the Sacramento Kings to beat, especially without Domantas Sabonis. Yeah. And they did. So you have to give the Suns credit tonight. And Chris in the chat, and I love Chris, has been very positive about this team. And it's been nice to see Chris kind of go through all of this stuff because he had been here when the team was obviously really bad. Says, keep waiting for this team to fold. And they refuse. So happy. They don't give up. They don't fall down after a loss. And that could also be in the third quarter when the Kings made this like a single-digit game and the Kings were hitting all their shots. The Suns weathered the blow and then put it back up to 10 and kept it there for the rest of the game. That is a very resilient team.
Yeah, it's like they're in a fixed card game and they know what's coming, so they don't need to fold. That's
so
how
anyway,
hey, Portland was a couple weeks ago.
That's true. That's
so anyways, Gil, you said 14 was the number for turnovers?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what they got to tonight.
They're right there.
They stayed there.
Yeah.
I think it's the terms that you're winning these games off of when you're going up against these proverbial lesser teams or teams that you think you should get a win against that matter most for me. And I feel like they won this game off of the terms that are going to get them wins against teams that are of a better ilk. That's what you want to see. That process has to be the same regardless of opponent.
Yeah, you win the turnover battle, you win the points off of turnover battle. Those are and the assist battle. Those are the things that will keep you in games, like you're saying, and help you shock a team like an OKC or Denver at some point, hopefully on Friday. But at some point, that's the kind of things that will do that for you.
And you talk about, like, who are you? Like, are you a good team? Are you a team that's going to be playing for something meaningful in March, in April, maybe beyond? And to do that, you have to take care of business and do what you did tonight. You have to stay true to your principles and do those things that you take with you when you play the defending champs, when you play the team that won a championship 2 seasons ago and arguably the best player in the world. Those habits start tonight. Those things you do, that identity, all those things happen, especially when you're looking back saying, man, I wish we would have had that game in November against the Kings. You don't have to say that. So take care of business. The more and more you do that, the more and more you inch towards being a solidified good team in the league.
A wire-to-wire victory for the Suns, by the way. Largest lead was 25 for the Suns. For the Kings, it was 0. As much as that third quarter was testy and the Suns only scored 16 points in that third, they never surrendered the lead. Again, shorthanded, no Jalen Green, no Grayson Allen for his 6th straight game, no Ryan Dunn for his 4th straight game, or maybe 3rd straight game. I don't know. He's missed a couple in a row. And this is a team that continues to step up and up and up. We do have to. I know we're an hour in here, and we'll get to your super chats. I promise that we will. But it's a Phoenix Suns podcast. We got to talk about Devin Booker. Devin Booker's stat line tonight left a lot to be desired yet again. In 39 minutes, just 19 points, 6 of 22 from the field. Did have 7 rebounds and 6 assists to only 1 turnover. So good on those margins tonight for Book. Add in a steal as well. Had a decent plus-minus, so the team was fine when he was on the court. But Espo, 6 of 22 and 2 of 9 from deep after what was a pretty decent start for him. is yet another game where offensively you're hoping for a little bit more in the scoring department.
Tonight doesn't bother me as much because he did come out and he had that impact in the first quarter like we've asked for. But he also did the other things, the rebounding, like you said, 7, 6 assists, but the 1 turnover. That number, when that number's low and he's getting assists, that means he's getting other people involved. I'm all right with that. He had a steal as well. Sure, he needs to be better than 6 of 22. And he'll find that rhythm again. We've seen pockets of Book's career where he's struggled from the floor. This is not foreign to him, but the fact that he got his teammates involved, he got to the free throw line the most of anybody on the Suns and the second most in this game. Those are important things for Devin Booker to do when a shot's not falling. So I felt a little bit better about his game tonight than I did in previous nights where those assist numbers were all right, but those turnovers were high and he was shooting poorly.
Yeah, and I like he was intentional in the first quarter. 12 points, 3 of 8 from the field, and which even makes it even crazier. He was 3 of 14 for the rest of the game. But a lot of those shots, those are shots I'm confident in him getting as he kind of gets back into that rhythm and finds it again. And I have confidence that he will. He's Devin Booker. And, there was a couple heat checks. So a couple things where I even noticed, and I mentioned it to you guys, he has that swagger. He has it on his mind tonight where he's very much trying to get out of that. He was actively trying to do that. And I think that doing that rather than kind of sinking back, because it's been very easy to do that. And the other part with the first quarter, we talked about it a little bit at the top of the show with Collin Gillespie, we saw the seeds of kind of what makes that dynamic work full time, if that's going to be the starting backcourt look that we see. So that's encouraging as well. So as you said, I'm not leaving that worried about it, although 3 or 14 between the second and fourth quarter does make me wonder maybe what shifted, what changed.
Tonight feels like a shooter tries to shoot themselves out of slump kind of thing, because you saw some things fall in that first, and then you saw some shots that he obviously was like, I want to get going. I want to feel this. And so
kind of Dylan Brooks-esque, honestly, a little bit with those deep threes pull-ups.
Yeah, Dylan was about the same tonight, too, at 4-12. But that's a testament to this team. Both those guys who have been offensive engines did not play great offensively, and they still found a way to get a 12-point win.
Your big three tonight were Collin Gillespie, Mark Williams, and Jamari Bouye. I'm not even saying that sarcastically. Those were probably your 3 most impactful players. I know Book has a high standard. Of course, he was more impactful than Jamari, but still. So Basketball Reference hasn't updated with tonight's game, but we were talking about it before the show about like what has been kind of the trend with this fall off. Now, I'm not Mr. Excuses, but Devin Booker debuted the Book 2s against Portland.
This is Shane Diefenbach's theory.
Shane Diefenbach's theory, and we know Shane keeps very good track on player stats and numbers for particular reasons. Now, again, this is not including tonight, so you can take in all the averages. But over these 4 games leading up to tonight, Devin Booker, since wearing the Book 2s, is averaging 19.3 points per game, about on par with tonight. He's shooting 35.5% from the field. Gross. From 3, he's shooting 30% from 3. From 2, he's shooting 38%, getting to the line 8.5 times per game and shooting 79% on those free throws, averaging 6.8 assists to 4.5 turnovers.
So it must be the shoes? Is that the line?
And that's before tonight. Now, again, who knows? But I know last year when Book was introduced in the Book 1s, he was dealing with like a lot of like lower body stuff at the same time. And it was a lot of like different injuries. And so I do wonder if he's kind of like player testing them and seeing the strengths and the weaknesses. Now, at the end of the day, no guy can ever sit down being a star, making max money in the NBA and post-game and be like, well, my shoes made me shoot poorly. Obviously, that's not an excuse.
I think that would also kind of destroy your deal.
It's kind of it's a little bit of a trend. That is all I'll say. I don't know if there's anything actually there. Obviously,
did you ever blame
tonight,
the shoes while playing?
Yeah, but of course, all the time. I had to blame something. I was it's the shoes. I'm sorry, Coach. My bad.
The Gil ones.
Yeah. So look, I mean, again, like you mentioned, it's a testament that they're able to get this done without Book playing at his highest level going into the season. All of us, talked about how Book's going to have to be 30-8 every night for this team to have a shot. Well, that's just not the truth. And guess what? It's not the truth without the 3 guys that we mentioned earlier. Just to put a bow on everything as we greet your super chats and get ready for Friday, Grayson Allen update pregame. For those of you who didn't join us in the pregame show, Jordan Ott said that he did not have a normal contusion, but they are aiming for him to come back sometime this weekend, but still said that he initially thought he was day-to-day, but ended up being a little bit more serious. No updates on Ryan Dunn from pregame or, of course, Jalen Green, who will be out presumably until the end of December at the earliest. But hopefully Grayson Allen on Friday or Saturday against the Thunder or the Nuggets. They'll definitely need him. Realistically, though, with how safe they've been playing things with Mark and with everybody, I wouldn't be shocked if we're looking at early next week for a return from Grayson.
I'd like to see him against either OKC or Denver, because that would be a nice little boost to your offense for sure. Take a little bit more of the weight off Book, but you do what's best for the player, and if that's to give him a couple more days, then so be it.
Yeah, got to think big picture, and I mean, it is worth noting, maybe it is Saturday versus Denver, a Denver team that lost to the Stinky Kings that we saw tonight, so maybe they're susceptible to losing and not as big as bad because they're dealing with some injuries themselves. So hopefully we see them this weekend, but like you said, next week would be great too.
Yeah, I think you just want them to be back healthy, whether that's Friday, whether that's Saturday, whether it ends up being sometime on Monday or the week or days after Monday when you play the Lakers. You just want them back healthy so that it's not a recurring one. You already have one recurring injury that you're already dealing with. You don't want to double down on that, especially at the guard position, because what was a position of depth is not looking a little shallow when you're going up against some of these teams that you have in your schedule the next 2 or 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, and we joke about, it's a bruise. How bad can a bruise be? But the thing is, when you have an injury like that, it's the whole kinetic chain. You could wind up overcompensating for that one injury if you're still not feeling right and pull something else or sprain something because you're not moving correctly. And so you've got to take it seriously even when it is a bruise, because it can lead to something worse.
And not that you decide something based off of how somebody plays, but we've seen Grayson be very efficient at driving to the rim and doing it quite a bit, initiating contact, finishing through contact. He's not just like Duncan Robinson, who's running off of screens and just taking threes. He has become a very complete player, an initiator, a playmaker. He's going to be put in a lot of action. He's going to be hit a lot in a game, so you don't want to rush him back. Even though Friday is the final game of group play for the NBA Cup, just a kind of a quick update for people who don't know where the Suns stand, like we mentioned.
They know, because this is everything.
It means more. That's it's hashtag it means more. The Phoenix Suns are now 3-0 in group play after beating Sacramento. They beat Minnesota, obviously, last Friday in a crazy game, and then beat Utah in the first NBA Cup game back on Halloween. They have a plus 35 differential. Them and the Thunder, who face off on Friday, are the last two teams that are in contention to make it to the knockout round with an automatic bid. The Thunder are 3-0 as well, with a plus 71 point differential, getting wins, of course, over Sacramento, Utah, and Minnesota. So what does that mean? If the Suns win on Friday, they automatically advance to the next stage, to the knockout round of the NBA Cup, with everybody else who also automatically advances and stays at the top of their separate groups. Now, that does not mean that if they lose, it's over, because there are also two wild card teams that are selected that are not automatic bids. The Suns, I believe, are probably in a good position, still being 3-0 and going up against the Thunder, as long as they keep that point differential relatively even, to still find their way into the next stage of the NBA Cup. I know that we joke about the importance of everything, but the fact that it is OKC on Friday and you do have a chance to kind of make a statement, do we feel like Friday is the most important game of the season to this point?
No.
What was?
Whatever one's in front of you, I guess.
Then it is!
But honestly,
up to this point in the season, is this the most important game for the Suns?
If you get a win, it certainly makes a statement to the NBA, and nobody can say, oh, well, you're only beating bad teams. Because we were talking about it. The floor feels like 70 wins for this OKC team this year. So if you find a way to beat them, it changes the narrative, especially because you've got another national TV game on Monday. There starts to be some buzz, gives you a little additional confidence. But I don't think it's the most important, but it could be the one that changes the narrative if you win it.
I see that. It's hard for me to say it's that important because
you had a 9.5 on the Suns must-win meter tonight.
And they got it. But Friday,
this is his first game.
But
then I need a 10 on Friday, Gil.
It's just funny because it's like you want to make a statement against the defending champs, and I know that they are without their second best player, but it's so hard to expect to go into their house, which is a really hard place to play. And you're not at full strength and really say we're going to make a statement. I do think if you're putting your best foot forward, it's like, hey, this is what we do. This is how we're going to be a thorn in people's sides. You don't want to see us in a 7-game series. I just don't think that it's this version of this team. That being said, I think that I talked about the same way, that 2-on-1, I think that is who this team is. It doesn't matter who is on the floor, who's lining up. They're going to scrap. They're going to make it difficult. They're always going to hang around. But I wouldn't necessarily say that hey, this is who we are. This is how we're going to make a statement.
Are you level-headed on this too, please?
Naturally.
I think it's crazy to say it's the most important game of the season so far.
It is.
I would say it matters because this is the best team in the NBA. These are the reigning champs. They've come out this season and haven't shown any of that championship malaise or whatever they call it, that championship hangover that goes into that next season. They're very much we were who we were last season. We're taking those same principles. We're adding some more characters to our main rotation. Some of it because of injury, some of it because of guys earning that opportunity as well. And we're going to continue to evolve our process. So while y'all are catching up to what we did last season, we're still evolving.
Just building.
Chet Holmgren is not the same Chet that he was last season. Shea is not the same Shea that he was last season. He took away all the trophies last season. Yeah. That team is still getting better. So that's the best that it's going to be for you, regardless of what iteration of your team you have. And this is where you really test your principles. What if you come into that game and they're not double teaming Devin Booker? They say, no, we're not going to let you get us in rotation. We're just going to switch everything. What are you going to do with that? Devin, you haven't decided to attack switches to the extent that we've seen you do in years past. Last season, we saw him get his pick and roll switched more than ever in his career. I imagine Oklahoma City with their individual defensive personnel is more like, okay, well, let's see what you do when the pocket pass is not there. The skip to the corner is not there because we have athletes all over the floor. What are your decisions going to be? And similarly, if you're not the one that's starting the blender for your team, who else is going to do it when you can't just go with pick and roll and find pockets because they're switching everything? So I'm very curious about that game. It's going to test not the character, because I'm not worried about whether the Suns are going to fight. If anything is guaranteed, is that they're going to do that. But what about when teams take certain things off the board for you offensively? How can you still find your pockets? And defensively, if you're switching Mark Williams, that's cool. What if they have guys that all are comfortable operating one-on-one and being able to not lose the offense's flow, but still go and get paint touches? Just little things like that. They're able to pull out levers that other teams can't to significantly deeper depths that other teams can.
I'd argue tonight's game was more important than Friday's.
Just because it's the only bad team that you play until the new year?
Simply because if you want to be a play-in or potential playoff team, you have to beat all the teams that aren't as good as you, at least on paper, where you go, this team is not as good as us. Because if you don't win those games, you will have zero shot to make the play-in or the playoff.
100%.
And these other games are bonuses. Winning against OKC would be a huge bonus win because it's not expected, and it's not the thing that's gonna put you in that position. You got to take care of your business where you need to take care of your business, and then catch some people off guard at times.
Counterpoint, the most important game is the one in front of you. And right now, that's OKC.
A good-looking wise man did say that.
Look, I think tonight's game was very important. I think it was one of our highest Suns must-win meters, and that was all of us averaged out, all 5 of us. So there was definitely potential to have it brought down. Tonight's win was very important, and I think the Suns pretty casually walked to it. A win is always great for this team, and I think we should never take that for granted considering where a lot of people consider this team to be. Even those who had high expectations didn't expect him to be this good this early into the season. That being said, up to this point, I do think Friday's game is the most important because of what is at stake and because of the coverage that will come with it. That being said, it's not going to be your most important game all season. If you lose, you flush it and you move on. The last thing on the cup is...
I'll push back a little bit there just because those are the teams you're aiming to get to.
Sure.
That's the ones you want to get to. So if it's not a pretty game... if it's one where all the screws come out, that's going to
You'll take a look in the mirror.
Yeah, it's gonna be a looking at self moment right there for sure. However, if it's not that they're looking for moral victories in any capacity, but if you lose and it's by a couple of possessions, that's something that you can learn from. You can look at, hey, we weren't grabbing the boards like we usually are supposed to. Our offensive rebound process wasn't hitting the way that it should. Like, you can look at little things and say, if we do these things, we can compete with those teams versus it being a 25-point blowout where it's like, well, we just are in a complete different league.
And I hear you, but to counter your counter, the only reason why I think it's a little different on Friday is because you're facing a team that's 18-1 and whose one loss this season was by 2 points, right? You are trying to get to be a top-tier team in the Western Conference. Everybody wants to be the Thunder. We are witnessing a team that comes around once every decade-ish, maybe. And so that's kind of the only thing for me where it's like, that's why it's important, but that's also why if you do lose, and let's say that the Thunder take care of business, you're without your second best player, possibly your third best player, and who knows if Ryan Dunn plays as well. That is one of those games that you say, okay, OKC is on a 73-9 type of pace that we've only seen twice in NBA history, right? So that's the only thing. If it was a Minnesota, if it was a Denver, if it was a Houston like it was on Monday, then I would agree with what you're saying. But sometimes you just got to be like,
and more than just point
OKC.
differential though, right? Like, obviously you don't want to get blown out by 25, but even if it gets away from you late, we saw it with OKC last year, and they are built on that and worked on some of their issues from last year. But their closest games and when they were most worried was when teams dragged them down and made it ugly.
Yeah.
And if you are a team that's undermanned and quite frankly at a talent disparity that there's going to be, you have to drag it down and make it ugly. And if you're able to do that, that is something that you can take away as a positive, whether it results in a 5-point loss, a 11-point loss, or a 4-point win. But I think that is the game plan and what's going to happen, which I know we'll talk more about on Friday. But I think that's something that you want to look into going into that game, and that will be the most important thing. Can you make another team play the way that you want them to play?
So it's a Dylan Brooks special.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
That's why, to Gil's point, is why I'm saying it matters for me. I'm not going to say it's like the most important, but it matters a lot for me because you have all of these principles and all of these terms of play that when you play to them, you get result X, which is usually a win. When you're on the line with it, depending on who you're going up against, you might lose it. And when you're out of alignment with it, you just don't win those games at all. Yeah. That's one of those games where you can tell very much so. It's less talking about it. It's more seeing it in action against the best team. You want to see those same principles that help you dictate to your opponents show up in some capacity against that team. That way you know where you're at.
If the Suns do lose on Friday, they will clinch a wild card spot in the West if they have a higher point differential than Friday's Memphis Grizzlies versus Clippers winner. As of right now, the point differential is going into Friday. The Suns are at a plus 35. The Grizzlies are at a plus 14, and the Clippers are at a minus 15.
So don't get blown out.
Don't get blown out by the Thunder, which is on the table for every team in the NBA. Right. And you should hopefully clinch a wild card spot. Or if Memphis blows out the Clippers, those are really the only two situations here. Or I guess if the Clippers win by like 40 something and you lose by like 15, those are the only situations here that you're talking about the Suns not clinching a wild card spot in the cup.
You realize your grand prize in that is going right back up against
OKC. 100%. Everything you want is on the other side of hard, damn it. And that's especially true in the NBA Cup.
I would love to see it.
Yeah, that's like a little mini playoff series. Look, obviously, NBA Cup game on Friday. We'll have you covered for all the pregame, postgames, probably some watch-alongs for if the Suns do make it to the NBA Cup. Just a reminder, that week's schedule is in flux right now. We should know this weekend when the Suns will play games, whether they make it to the next round or not. So we'll let you know when those games are on @PHNX_Suns. These three will have you covered for Friday's game as I take care of the Territorial Cup. So that'll be very fun. Let's get into some super chats here to round out Gil's first post-game show, starting with Lonnie. Thanks, Lonnie. $4.99 super chat says, I'm not a member, but I always hit that like button. Let's go, chat. Great win.
Thanks, Lonnie.
Lonnie, you sent a $5 super chat. All I want to say is that for that same price, you could be a member. And if you are a member for a month, you get a prepaid super chat that we read, which means if you send a $5 super chat every month, you basically are paying to be a member, but without the emojis, the access to all of Steven's exclusive breakdowns, and of course, all the fun stuff we have for members. So no pressure. I'm just saying, I want you to be smart with your money, especially around the holidays. We appreciate the super chat. You could also become a member and do the same thing. That's all I'm saying.
That's your cheapness coming through in a positive way.
I'm looking out for
frugality.
People. I'm looking out for people.
We'll call it frugality. That's fair, Gil. We'll call it frugality.
Speaking of, by the way, Yeah, I appreciate you.
He tried to give you the assist.
No, it's
here,
cheap.
right?
I'm cheap. Miss Melissa, by the way, of course, Melissa in the chat has been a member for a month, so she just gets her prepaid super chat here. Just sent it.
MVP.
I did.
You see what I mean?
I told you.
We're in alignment.
I told you I had you.
She says,
"What's up, Melissa?"
Now, why don't you read this one, Steven?
Oh yeah. Well, it says Melissa celebrates her 1 month membership. Happy Thanksgiving to the whole crew and chat. Blessings all around. Blessings to you, Missy.
Agreed.
Love it. Let's keep it rolling with our super chats as well. Terrence's Tidbits, one of the great names that we have here, says, shout out to Jamari Bouye. Watched him play at San Francisco in March Madness. Hit some big threes to help keep the lead in double digits. # Suns up. Do yourself a favor. Go watch Jamari Bouye San Francisco Don's highlights. Dude's hooping.
I'm sad that Stuart Scott isn't around to call these highlights though, because that would be a hell of a lot of fun.
100%. Bees with the $2 super chat. Thanks, Bees, one of the OGs around here. Says, Gil, speak about the Suns' pistol and horn sets, and then in parentheses, SBG laughing emoji.
It's a running joke about the pistols and horn sets around here. So.
There you go.
You're not going to speak about them?
I feel like we need more time for that. We gotta really like.
Gil's like, it's almost midnight. It's almost Thanksgiving. Let's get out of here. Josh, the point guard, with 35-something, says, beautiful day in Cape Town, South Africa, and another Suns win on to the next. The Thunder are going to be tough guys, but let's believe. I like it, Josh. Thanks for tuning in from Cape Town, South Africa.
I don't know what time it is over there, my guy, but we appreciate you.
It's Thursday there. I know that much.
Cape Town,
sure.
Beautiful place.
Yeah,
absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Be calm. I'll read this. Be calm, see clearly, Ayrton, and then we'll have you tag it after that. But a serious super chat here from Be Calm says, for my whole adult and childhood, I've gotten hate and religious abuse from my family and friends and work. I will set myself free from the guilt, shame, and self-hatred. I choose myself. I love me. 3 different heart emojis. Be calm.
Love that, Be Calm.
We are glad that you choose you. And we are glad that you have found some freedom in that. So we are glad to have you here. And we're also glad to have you back to your also normal super chat as well.
I just want to say this, though. Don't ever let somebody shame you for being you.
Facts.
That is the most important thing that any of us have. And you should embrace who you are and embrace it proudly and never, ever, ever let somebody take that away from you. So I'm glad that you're choosing yourself. I'm glad that you are choosing to find that happiness and that love for yourself. And please embrace that every day, not just Thanksgiving, but throughout the holiday season, because I know that can be tough, and throughout the year, because you are individually you, and that's the best thing that you have going for you.
Be calm. We really do appreciate you here. And look, we know that you embrace you because we got 3 super chats that Ayrton is ready to read.
I'm going to go in reverse order for these. We're going to go first, $2 from BCOM See Clearly. When we beat the Thunder, gawk all around, snatch, salute.
Welcome to the BCOM See Clearly experience.
Another $2 from BCOM See Clearly. Is everybody still snatched up tonight? Salute, go. And then finally, $5 from BCOM See Clearly. Who is the new cute snatch, question mark? Snatch and I love a deep voice, salute. Step aside, Stephen and Noah, because you have a competition. SNATCH PHNX, salute. I'm back.
Be calm. I've been here the whole time. What are you talking about?
The great part was our chat was so loving and everything to Be Calm with that original super chat. And then when that second super chat came in, the last one that Ayrton read, everybody was like, Be Calm is back. Let's go. It was awesome. Get used to that, my friend.
Charles Gil doesn't get it yet. Oh, you'll get it.
Look, any final thoughts on a Suns victory, Gil? Your first post-game show with us. You got the whole gambit, the whole experience. Any final thoughts on 3-0 in the NBA Cup and 12-7 on the season?
And 1-0 with me doing pregame, but also genuinely on a serious note, we talked about the little run the Kings had, but I don't think that if I ask any of y'all, there was never a point where we thought that the Suns are going to relinquish that lead and the Kings are going to get back into it. So I think that was perfect example of taking care of business. A great win. You needed it. You got it. Now let's move on to Friday.
Anybody else?
Yeah, like I said, I'm just looking forward to them responding to the tests and the ways in which the Thunder will test them, because it's going to be a different kind of animal than any of the teams that they've seen in terms of level of play. I know the Suns can rise, but are they going to be able to either rise to OKC's level or bring OKC down into the waters with their level and then kind of fight from there? I'm very intrigued by that game. It's going to be a very fun one to watch.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see where that high water mark is for the Suns and if they can compete in that game. Want to say to each and every one of you guys, Eric, Steven, been a pleasure so far, in our time doing this together. I appreciate both of you, and I'm thankful to have you here. Gil, really proud to call you a teammate now. Glad to have you in the building as well. Thankful for that. And the Freckle Mamba, the best hire we made until Gil showed up. Glad to have you as part of the family as well. You've worked your ass off since starting back in June, and this entire group has come together and done some great work. So I appreciate each of you and everybody in the chat. Happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this. And it is a true honor and a privilege to get the chance to do this for you every night, even when it's 100 degrees in this room. And we've been doing it for an hour and a half. It's a pleasure to do it for you guys. So thank you.
Appreciate you, Espo.
Yeah.
Thank you, Espo. Appreciate you. Thankful for all of you. Like I said, thankful
don't worry,
for
I
chat.
got you, bro.
Bang.
Boom.
Silly Ayrton thought we'd be out of here before midnight. You're a funny guy, Ayrton. You're funny. Speaking of funny, we have a question from BComC Clearly.
At the buzzer, as usual, BComC Clearly, $2. The new Snatch sounds single, ? Salute. Hit me up.
And we got another one coming in here at the buzzer as well.
Is it the voice that sounds single? What's the single?
Yeah.
How do you
Do
sound
you take
single?
offense to that?
I don't know if sounding single is a good or a bad thing. I don't know.
I think for BCom, it's the best thing.
Oh, there you go.
Another $2, BComC Clearly. 4-man booth of all my exes and current Snatch.
Ayrton, you too?
Wow. What a night, folks. What a night. The Phoenix Suns keep winning. BCom keeps super chatting. And we're going to keep on grooving here. The Suns might be able to rise to the occasion, but it's setting on this show.
Kevin, don't say that in the chat, all right? I'm not reading that.
Sounds like a you joke, honestly.
I mean, come on.
That sounds like something you would say.
Kev, you get stuffed, all right? There we go.
Well, ain't that the Thanksgiving spirit, huh? Ain't that the Thanksgiving spirit? Well, thank you all for joining us on what was a very up and down edition, but a very fun edition of the PHNX Suns post-game show. Hit that like button on the way out of here. Subscribe. Become a member as well. You can also become a diehard. You would have gotten early access to our Black Friday sale. If you are not a diehard, you still get access to the Black Friday sale very soon. Literally 2 minutes. Check it out. Get some awesome Suns merch.
Also, we have some written content that you should take some time to check out over the next week, because we'll have some time before the next one comes out. So go check it out. Go PHNX.com. Another notebook installment. Talked about a few different topics, and I will not give any teasers. So you want to see it, go see about it.
That and his top 3 plays of the week were a banger. Check those out
the top
as well.
3 plays will be a recurring one as well. We got our first one come out today as well. So, yeah, got a lot of content to get you through until the Friday game against Oklahoma City.
The hardest working man in the business. Right?
Yeah, if you're not having a great time around your family, spend it with SPG's
if
words
you're having a
instead.
good time, show your family.
Share with them. Yeah, share them.
Everybody's going around the table like, what do you think for? Oh, me? I'm thankful for the latest edition of Steven's notebook over on GoPHNX.com.
Instead of watching that whatever team in Dallas play tomorrow, you can put the notebook on the big screen TV in the living room, and you can watch the
real ball.
You can read, and you can watch the film sessions involved with that too.
Gil might have some free time because he's new in town. He'll read it for you. If you
I think we could actually make money doing that. Some people have been asking you to read them bedtime stories and everything. Can you just say, Suns fans, you're in good hands?
Suns fans, you're in good hands.
Clip it. Let's clip that. Follow the show at PHNX_Suns. That's on social. That's on Twitter and on Instagram. Of course, appreciate the Freckled Mamba behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen, even when it's past his bedtime. You can follow him at Freckled Mamba. Of course, you can follow Steven to get updates on whenever he's dropping notebooks, studies, the top plays of the weeks. Hell, what don't you do? Well, you won't find it over on at Steven PG3. Of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Catch him on Southwest Bias also every single weekday morning at 11. You can follow the new guy, the new Snatch. Happy Snatch Giving. It is technically Thanksgiving now. We're thankful for Gil. You can go ahead and give him a follow. Show him lots of love on social at Gil McGregor _. And of course, if you follow PHNX Suns, you'll have seen us retweet some of his stuff already. You can follow me at ERIK RUBY. Bye.
We've crossed the witching hour.
We all silly like the mayor.